Hello everyone on myspace.com. This of course is Jeremy Horn. And I put aside the questions for the deadline a while, and right now I'm going back to the book by Bill Cosby and Dr. Alvin F. Poussaint, Come On People on the Path of Victims to Victors. Okay? And right now I skipped chapter 3 because all they're talking about is we all start out as children. I understand that. But right now I want to go back to reading chapter 4, talking about some brief information about what chapter 4 was. And I was reading this last night. This was very, very interesting, and I want to share this to all my online friends on MySpace and even on YouTube. And on this quote, it says, passing on. This is from Frederick Douglass. Now, if you don't know who Frederick Douglass was an abolitionist. He was born a slave in Maryland, and then a couple of years later, he had freedom. And then after that, he became outspoken for the abolitionists, founded the North Star Almanac, North Star newspaper, talking about the abolitionists of slavery. He even got an invitation to Abraham Lincoln at the White House. And I found this quote to be very interesting, and he's talking about learning to read during his enslavement, and I quote, "From that moment, I understood the pathway from slavery to freedom. It was just what I wanted, and I got it at a time when I least expected it. Whilst I was saddened by the thought of losing the aid of my kind mistress, I was gladdened by the invaluable instruction which, by the merest accident, I had gained from my master. Though conscious of the difficulty of learning without a teacher, I set out with high hope and a fixed purpose, at whatever cost of trouble, to learn how to read. The very decided manner with which he spoke, and strove to impress his wife with the evil consequences of giving me instruction, served to convince me that he was deeply sensible of the truth he was uttering. It gave me the best assurance that I might relay with the utmost confidence on the results which, he said, would flow from teaching me to read. What he most dreaded, that I most desired. What he most loved, that I most hated. That which to him was a great evil, to be carefully shunned, was to me a great good, to be diligently sought. And the argument which he so warmly urged against my learning to read only served to inspire me with a desire and determination to learn. In learning to read, I owe almost as much to the bitter opposition of my master as to the kindly aid of my mistress. I acknowledge the benefit of both." Also, here's another quote that the late Malcolm X said about education, and I quote, "Education is our passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today." And this was very, very interesting. And also, if you look at this paragraph talking about save our schools, he's also talking about the schools, the public school system that's like one of the worst in the United States, that's going on in low economic neighborhoods. And like, I'll give you an example. I don't want to give out like cities and all that, but they know what they're going on. You know the system. And it's time for y'all to stand up. And here's some instruction that can definitely help make some schools, that's like one of the worst in the United States. And here's what he said about these school system that's like one of the worst. I quote, "These poor students do not have equal educational opportunities, and there is blame enough to go around. Schools, parents, and the entire community. Black parents and caregivers, you have a dual task. You have to speak out for better schools, and at the same time you have to speak to your kids at home and support their learning. Sometimes you may have to buckle up and make the best of a bad situation. Gripping alone isn't going to make your kids any smarter. You, parents, and caregivers have to make the best use of whatever a school offers, but the school needs to get their acts together and start educating our children as if they matter. The cumulative effects of poor schools for black people over the decades is one very good reason why black students underperform. But it's not the only one. Even bad schools produce smart kids. Make sure your child is one of them." Now that, to me, really caught my attention. And here is one thing that talking about people who really have a short attention span. This is from the call out, and it's from Dr. Susan Wilson in Kansas City, and she said, and I quote, "Kids who have a short attention span need more structure than the average child. So that means you need to have a